Hi, friends. Thank you for joining us again on Food for Thought. This is Sunil Chandy. I am the priest and rector here at Christ Episcopal Church, and this is a ministry out of Christ Episcopal Church, Food for Thought. And we're coming. It's a pre-recorded session today, and we are coming from my office. And you can see my office back here. I want to go back into the church and back among the stained glass windows and the altar and all those things that we usually have the trappings of the Episcopal Church. And so I kind of miss that. But I also like being in my office. And so if you are here today with us, connecting with us, please let us know. Let us know that what you like about this program and what ways it can be helpful to you. And also as we engage in the different things, just say hello. Tell us that you're here and that we'd love to hear what you think. And especially as we all connect together through the various challenges of our life. Today, I think I'm just going to launch into our program because we have this really wonderful, interesting guest that I've been recently introduced to through 321, the company that works with Ben Barber. He's a partner of Ben Barber, and his name is Patrick Wyllie. And Patrick has this really interesting history. He's started many different businesses, and some were successful and some were not. But the wonderful thing about him is that he learns from the things that didn't work out, so that he could be more successful into the future. And he's also an athlete, an endurance athlete, which he'll talk a little bit about. And part of living life is all about enduring some of the hard parts as we enjoy and relish some of the good parts. And so, Ben, if you would please bring on board Patrick, it'd be great. Hi, Patrick.
Hey, hi, Sunil. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you, and thank you for beginning this venture with Ben. He's a great person. I really love him, and our community loves him and appreciates him.
Yes, me and Ben go way back. We have been high school friends and had one of our first jobs together at the old Subway in Richmond that does not exist anymore. And we've worked together in various capacities over the years. And now I have the pleasure of calling him my business partner. So it's fantastic, and I'm glad he was able to make this connection.
Oh yeah, definitely. And so you went to Westerly High School also?
So we both went to Charahoe High School. I graduated in 2006, and he was 2005.
Wow. Okay, great. They have a lot of creative people out of Charo High School.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. If they just have a good program that breeds that, or if we just have a community of nice creative people. Could be a combination of the two, I guess.
I think it is. I
Yeah.
like that. That's really good. And again, Pat, do you like Pat or Patrick?
Patrick is fine, but if Pat's easier for the time being, that's fine too.
Oh no, I'll do Patrick. I like Patrick too. And
Perfect.
and so like Patrick, it seems like, do you have a family also? Do you have a
I do. So I've been married for the better part of 10 years at this point to my beautiful wife, Samantha. She grew up in the same area, although we didn't meet each other until about 2011. And we have two amazing, beautiful children, PJ, who is 7, and our daughter, Leah, who's 4. And we live here in Hopkinton.
Hopkinton? Great. And so I mean, I know that there's a fundraiser that you're working with us at the church, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that and how you got into it. And it's the dealing with the Ronald McDonald House, isn't it?
Yeah, so this is an organization that's very near and dear to my heart. So I'd mentioned I have a son, PJ. He's 7 years old now. He's a rambunctious 7-year-old, just like the rest of them. But he had a really tough start at life. So he was born almost 4 months premature at 25 weeks. In the winter of 2014, he was 1 pound 9 ounces. Very, very small. It was I think I was 26 when he was born, and just being a new father is enough, but being a new father to a 1 pound baby was something I was not prepared for by any means. And he had a really long stay in the neonatal ICU, the NICU. So when he was born and my wife was discharged from the hospital, the doctors said it would be wise if we could try to get a room at the Ronald McDonald House, which is right across the street from Women and Infants in Providence. And we were blessed enough, lucky enough to receive a room immediately upon her discharge. And it wasn't just a room, it was a brand new room that was just sponsored by Cardi's. So it was brand new beds. Everything in the room was it was just the perfect situation. And I remember getting a tour of the Ronald McDonald House, and we weren't in the right frame of mind. Our son was just born a few days ago at 1 pound, and we got into our room, and my wife and I just looked at each other, and we just broke down crying and hugging, and just not really knowing what the future was going to hold. And it, you know we're both Christians, and we had a strong belief that God was going to take us through this process, and he certainly did. Just by giving us the room, and having that room to be there and to be close to our son who was in the NICU for 90 days was absolutely, I can't even put it into words. They were so generous. We had situations where we got calls at 3 o'clock in the morning, and he was diagnosed with a disease called necrotizing enterocolitis, which is an intestinal disease. And you need to do a surgery rather quickly for this particular disease. It has a 50-50 chance of survival. And luckily we got that call, and I ran right across at 3 o'clock in the morning from the Ronald McDonald House to Women and Infants to sign off on the paperwork for a life-saving surgery. So without the Ronald McDonald House, I don't know what would have happened. And now I have this amazing opportunity 7 years down the road, when my life is completely different from what it was back then. I was not an athlete back then. I was not a runner. I am now. And I had the opportunity to apply to be on the Boston Marathon team for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England. And I didn't think I would get selected. I figured there's so many people out there who want this opportunity. But I applied, and it turns out they liked my story. They thought I would be a good fit, and here we are. Now I'm raising money for the Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England. So it's the Providence House and the Boston House.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Providence and the Boston House. Okay.
Yes.
It's what I was thinking was, my youngest was also in the NICU unit down in New Jersey,
Oh
and
wow.
yeah, and but nothing as intense as what PJ was going through. Although it was intense for us. And one of the things that I remember is, like, when you're pregnant and you're about to have a baby, and especially your first one, right? This is PJ, this is Samantha and you and PJ, right? And then
Yes.
all of a sudden something something changes, that it becomes an emergency situation, a high risk situation, and then
Mhm.
you're in the hospital. And PJ came in 4 months early,
Mhm.
but that in itself is a miracle that he survived that.
Yeah.
Like, what it is I remember, like, I remember pictures of us when we were going into labor with Daniel. He was a week early, and we were kind of hopeful. We were happy and everything. And then knowing he was in the NICU unit for about a week afterwards, there was this. They took a picture of us, and we were like, so you could see the depression on our face, and I could just imagine. I could just imagine what you might have been going through at that time, you and Samantha.
Yeah, it was it to this day one of the most difficult times in my life. I remember saying that it doesn't matter what I face from here on out, nothing is going to be as hard as what we went through during that first 90 days. And obviously you forget over the years the the severity of everything that you've gone through, and it's hard to always put things back in perspective, but it was exhausting. I felt like I aged quite a bit during that 90 days. I had hair before, and now I don't, so maybe that's what did it. But yeah, it doesn't matter how long you have a child in the NICU, whether it's 90 days, 1 week, or there were folks who had 6 month stays or longer. It's not easy when you don't have any control over the situation and you don't know what's going to happen. So it really just I guess forces you to elevate your faith, so to speak, and really just to leave it in God's hands and in the doctor's hands, and just trusting and knowing that at least at women and infants, and really the NICU in general, no matter where you are, that they're going to take care of your child.
Yeah, I love that, and it's interesting that you place your hands in the hands of God, right?
Mhm.
And but then there was this wonderful when you in your story there was this wonderful moment where you're there. This Ronald McDonald House opportunity comes. You're sitting in the room, and your child is across the street, and you're and everything seems to be going against you, but then this moment there's a moment of grace, and in that moment you know um, the problems don't go away, but you experience the grace, and you turn to one another, which was really beautiful. You hugged each other. You kind of like knew that you weren't alone in this, that you have Samantha and
Right.
yourself. Now also you have all other people on your side trying to help you through the walk with you in this challenge.
Yeah, it was great that we had an amazing support system. We had family and friends who were with us every step of the way. But really what the Ronald McDonald House did for us, and it's very hard for me to express how grateful I am, but I can give you an example of that grace, right? So we were in there in the winter of 2014 to 2015. So we spent Christmas in the hospital. I remember going back to the room on Christmas Eve, freshening up because we had been there all day, and Samantha was over in the hospital, and I said, "I'm just going to take a quick shower, get some food, and then walk back over to the hospital." And I'm finishing up getting ready, and I hear a knock on the door, and it was a couple volunteers from the house, and they had this big gift basket that they were giving to all of the families that were staying there. And you know i I was floored, first of all, that they were just knocking on everyone's door and giving out these gift baskets. But it really, once I started opening up the basket, there Sunil, there were hundreds and hundreds of dollars of gas gift cards, food gift cards, um, every little thing that we didn't know that we needed, or we couldn't think about, it was all in that basket. And that was another time. I mean, I don't wanna give off the vibe that I'm this emotional person, but I broke down and I cried again on that bed, and it blows my mind that there are people out there who care that much to give to a stranger. Um, and that's what this organization does every single day. They provide not just housing, they provide, security, they provide daily meals for these families, because when you're in the hospital for long periods of time, uh, you're either driving long distances, or you're having to eat out 2 to 3 meals a day. And that's almost a mortgage payment, every single month, if not more. So to receive what we received there, and just that's just one example. Um, it it really is an amazing organization, and that's why, I'm very excited, to say, in a couple of weeks here on February 5th, we're hosting a virtual telethon to support my efforts, running the Boston Marathon, where we're gonna have musicians and comedians and artists from all over the country coming together to support this charity and this organization. And it's all with the mission of being able to keep families close when they have a child who has cancer or a child in the NICU. So it really is an honor to be able to give back to this organization.
Yeah, and and I'm so glad that you came on board here, and that the church is collaborating with you in this, because I think just knowing how much it has impacted your life,
Mm.
and then just extrapolating it to the thousands of people that they come across. I mean, it only adds to the good in the world, I think.
Oh, absolutely. And you know, the people that I was able to meet and have conversations with in the NICU while we were there, and you know, some of them are lifelong friendships, and you know, there were opportunities to share my testimony with people who may not have ever heard that before. So it was very interesting to see the way that everything worked together for good in such a dark time.
And that's a wonderful insight. I mean, life is always filled with challenges, right?
Mhm.
And we all, I mean, right now we're going through this global challenge of the COVID crisis, and people are dying. There are people in the hospital. There are people, the nurses and physicians are feeling burnt out in the hospital system,
Mhm.
and and we can look at those challenges and see only the darkness, but then it's when we reach out to one another that we see moments of hope, and moments of hope as we reach out for a hand, and then we're able to get up and continue our journey. It's so good that you had the Ronald McDonald House, and also Samantha, and you didn't give up on PJ, and you didn't give up on yourself, and so you're able to spread this light to the world around you. How's PJ doing, by the way, now?
He's doing great. So he is, like I said, he's a your average everyday 7-year old, maybe with a little extra energy than most. But most, you know, he has a lot of developmental delays that occurred because of his prematurity. But for the most part, he's caught up. I mean, he's thriving. You know, he's just a normal everyday 7-year old, and I love him so much.
I am looking forward to meeting him if
Yes,
we ever get the opportunity. I'd love,
absolutely.
and just say a prayer for him too, and continue as he continues his journey. I mean, I'm looking, I think people who face challenges also offer the world possibilities of something new and wonderful.
Mm.
And so I know that that's the case even with my son, who was in the NICU unit when he was younger too.
Mhm. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because so my wife is a very private person, right? So she doesn't like to get into the nitty-gritty details of sharing the story and this and that, and we had a conversation recently about me partnering with Ronald McDonald House and sharing our story, for this organization, and you know, at the time when we were going through it, I didn't know why we were going through it, right? There are things that happen in our lives that we question, you know, why God, like, why is this happening? You know, woe is me, you know, the whole nine. And it wasn't until 7 years later now that I'm seeing, okay, this is why we had to go through that. We made it through, and now we're here to spread awareness for this organization. We're using our story, our testimony as a way to bring comfort to these other families who, in the moment, don't see a way out, and there is, and that is the reason why we had to go through what we went through 7 years ago.
Yeah, it gives hope. Your story gives hope to others.
Thank you.
Patrick, there's so many things I'd love to talk to you. I'd love to talk to you about your Ironman experience and your triathlon, because I think that's in itself, it's an amazing thing, and I'm looking forward to doing that. But I'm so glad that we spent this time talking with one another about Ronald McDonald House, and then also um, your son, PJ, and getting to know you a little bit more. I think it's great, and I think as we work closer in the church, I think it's gratifying for me to know.
Oh, absolutely, and I appreciate the opportunity, and don't get me talking about the Ironmans though, because we might need to have an hour or two to discuss that. Because once I get going, I won't shut up.
It's true.
It's interesting.
It's true.
Oh, that's Ben on the line. So
Yeah.
there he is.
Hey, everybody. It's
Hey,
true.
Ben.
He won't. Guys, I have an idea. I think that Pat should come back for a Fitness Friday and talk exclusively about being a triathlete.
Sure.
Yeah,
I think that's a great idea.
I think that would be wonderful. I also have another idea, which is Father Sunil. First of all, thank you to and hey Pat, by the way. See, this is the thing. I can call him Pat, but I can't call you Sunil. So I got one up on both of you in a different way. So anyway, I have an idea. So number one, Pat's coming back for Fitness Fridays to talk about his endurance training. And number
Great.
two, Father Sunil, thank you to you and to Lisa and Wendy from the church for
Yes,
helping
thank
us
you
out
all.
in promoting this fundraiser and finding sponsors and finding donors for Ronald McDonald House for this. Thank you so much. Would you be interested in coming onto the live stream to give a blessing for all of the families that are in Women and Infants and Hasbro and Boston Children's Hospital that have to stay at the Ronald McDonald House, Boston and Providence?
Oh, it would be my honor. Thank you for thinking of me. I would love to do that. I would love to do that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
We would really appreciate that.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Pat, you got to go. Pat has to. I'm keeping Pat very busy right now.
All right, good.
He really is. Thank
All
you
right.
so much for the opportunity, Sunil. It was great to get to know you a little bit more and to be on your show. And looking forward to expanding on this relationship and connecting further down the road.
Sure. And look, I know you'll get support from the church too. I think
Thank you.
this is a good endeavor, and God bless you in all of it.
Thank you. God bless you.
We're gonna, Pat. Is it okay with you if we end with the video, the story video that we
Sure.
put together?
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll do that at the end. If that's okay with Father Sunil.
That's good.
All right, cool. Bye, Pat.
Thank you. See you
Bye.
later.
Thank you. Folks, thank you for watching, and thank you, Pat. Such an amazing young man, and thank you, Ben, for coordinating our conversation with him and our relationship. He's doing great work, and Ben, let's just put the video on, and then is the video a very long one, or should I do the prayer first and then the video? What do you think?
It's about 4 minutes.
Let's put the video on, and then
All right.
then we'll end with prayer.
All right, here we go.
I'm Patrick Wyllie, and I'm running the Boston Marathon to support the Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England. In the winter of 2014, my son was born about 4 months premature. He was a 25-weeker, 1 pound, 9 ounces. It was a really scary time. The doctors told us, since we lived so far away from the hospital, that it would be wise to see if we could get a room at the Ronald McDonald House right across the street from Women and Infants. And luckily, the day my wife was discharged from the hospital, we were able to walk right in and get a brand new room, which we were super grateful for. I remember, about a week before Christmas, my son was diagnosed with necrotizing enterocolitis, or NEC, which is an intestinal disease that's common with preemies, but it also has, a 50-50 shot of surviving if you don't make a split decision to do a life-saving surgery. And I remember sleeping at the Ronald McDonald House here and getting a call at about 3 o'clock in the morning saying that he was diagnosed with this and that we needed to get to the hospital right away to sign off on paperwork to save his life. And thank God we were here and we weren't an hour away because we were able to walk right over across the street and sign those papers and make a life-saving decision for our son. So it's fitting that we're filming this video here at Ronald McDonald House in Providence when it's like 10 degrees outside and snow flurrying, because when I stayed here, it was probably one of the snowiest winters that we had in the past 20 years. And I remember this parking lot right here, I had nothing else to do when my son was in the hospital. So I'd come out here and I would shovel this parking lot by myself just to clear out the snow and just to clear my head, really. It's just unreal being back here. I mean, this part of the building didn't even exist when I was staying here. So it's amazing to see how much this organization has grown over the years, because that just means that more families are able to stay close to their children that are in the hospital for long periods of time. I made this trek across the street to women and infants about 270 times. That was about 3 round trips a day for 90 days. But it was a heck of a lot better than me having to drive 50 minutes round trip. There are many families like mine who are staying at the Ronald McDonald House right now with a child in the NICU or a child who has cancer, and they need to make these decisions, and they need to be close to their children while they're going through these long periods of time in the hospital. So to have an organization like the Ronald McDonald House, for these families, I really can't even put into words what it means to them. So what I'm asking you to do is to help me help this charity support these families. We want to help keep families close. So that's why I'm running the Boston Marathon, to support this organization. I want to raise $15,000 for this organization. It costs about $160 per night to house a family here. The family doesn't have to pay anything, but that's how much it costs to keep a family here for one night. So for a 90-day stay, like what my family had to deal with, that's about $15,000. So join me in helping support this amazing charity. You're not going to regret it. What you're doing is great. You know, this organization is amazing, and it really means a lot to the families that are here. So please go to the link in the description, donate to this amazing charity. Thanks so much for checking it out. Please share this, donate and share, and help spread the word about how great the Ronald McDonald House Charities of New England is.
Oh, was that wonderful? Thank you, Ben, for making that possible, and of course, thank you, Patrick, and God bless you. And I'm hoping that many of us will support Ronald McDonald House, and we have the information right there. And if you could join us for the live stream from 2 to 10 p.m. on Facebook, that would be really wonderful too, to support Patrick and Samantha, and of course PJ, and then all families like their family who are experiencing this type of challenge. Let's end with a prayer. This is a prayer that's commended to us by Bishop Thomas Brown of Maine. The Lord be with you. Let us pray. Jesus Christ, you traveled through towns and villages, curing every disease and every illness. At your command, the sick were made well. Come to our aid now in the midst of the global spread of the coronavirus. Heal those who are sick with the virus. May they regain their strength and health through quality medical care. Heal us from our fear, which prevents nations from working together and neighbors from helping one another. Be present with those in authority who are making hard decisions. Support the medical professionals, emergency responders, counselors, and caregivers. We ask this all in your name, Jesus. Amen. Join with me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Friends, go in peace to love and serve God. Spread the light and joy of Christ to the world around you. Spread that light through helping others so that they too may find hope in this world, because the world needs it right now.
Thanks for watching. Did you know that you can join Christ Church from anywhere in the world? If you're feeling connected to what we're doing, email us today at communicate@christchurchwesterly.org.